beautiful, Maxine.
Okay, wasn't that bad?
That was gorgeous. Gorgeous. Wow.
I did not sing in public. I'm so freaking.
Welcome back, because you'll do it again.
Okay, I'll use this.
That was so great. Oh my gosh, you're so great.
You're just sucking up.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm really not.
What
reason do I
It's
have?
so small. The writing is so small
I'm
that.
sorry.
No, it's just one. But there's one I do.
Checking in, all good? Yes. Okay. You got anything?
Can we do Oer Kleina real quick, Dr. Bond? Actually, I'll come up there.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We begin our service on page 6 as we look for that last glimmer of the week's light to bring in the Sabbath, the sun on the treetops, as we begin our holy day, Shabbat. Page 6.
The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angel of peace.
Welcome to templebethzion's classical Shabbat service. I'm Rabbi Brent Gutmann, joined by Cantor Susan Lewis-Friedman, and we have Dr. Bond on the organ tonight. We're so grateful to those of you who have come to spend Shabbat with us in person and online. If I could take a moment just to ask anyone that's brought their cell phones with them to take a second, check that they're on silent, so that we can enjoy the service together tonight, along with noting that we ask you to refrain, please, from taking pictures during the service. Also want to note that there's exits all around. You can exit straight onto Delaware Avenue if there's a need to, and also behind me in the bathrooms. I know the construction's a little bit of a mess. The bathrooms closest to us, as you turn right in the hall, are available, ready, should you need them during the service. You can find other necessities on the left side, first aid kits and such like that. We continue our service on page 7 as we begin, You, my soul's delight. You, my soul's delight, compassion's gentle source, take my disposition and shape it to your will. Like a darting deer, I will flee to you. Before your glorious presence, humbly I do bow. Let your sweet love delight me with its thrill, because no other great love will my hunger still. We continue, Hine Ma Tov, how good it is to be together this Shabbat. Continue on page 31, reading responsively, Come, let us sing. Come, let us welcome. Come, let us welcome Shabbat. May its radiance warm our hearts as we kindle these tapers. It's music. infusion here. Excuse me. Let's continue. It's a beautiful reading to inspire us for Shabbat. Light is the symbol of the holiness within each of us. The human spirit is the light of God.
Light is the symbol of the Torah's teachings, for its commandment is a lamp and the Torah is a light.
Light is the symbol of Israel's mission, as it is written, I have made you a covenant people to serve as a light to the nations.
Therefore, in the spirit of our ancient tradition that hallows and unites Israel in all lands and ages, we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
And I think that that's our cue, that maybe we should kindle the lights of Shabbat. I'd like to welcome up our friend Bobby Markley to help us with lighting our lights, elevating this moment in honor of her husband Tom's yahrzeit this evening. Please rise as we turn to page 31. We're already there for the lighting of candles. You may be seated. We'll return to page 8 as we're supposed to. You sure you don't want to welcome Shabbat? L'chuna ranana. We're supposed to raise our voices. We're supposed to try to experience simcha, joy this day. We'll turn back to page 8 as we continue with Psalm 95. We continue on page 19. The voice of Adonai kindles flames of fire. The voice of Adonai convulses the wilderness. Adonai convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Adonai causes hinds to calve and strips forests bare. While in God's temple all say glory, Adonai sat enthroned at the flood. Adonai sits enthroned, sovereign forever. May Adonai grant strength to God's people. May Adonai bestow peace on God's people. We continue on page 26. May the righteous bloom like the date palm. Tzaddik Kataman.
Please join us. Tzaddik Katamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yizgeh shetulim
Adonai is robed, God is girded with strength. The world stands firm. I cannot be shaken. Your throne stands from of old. From eternity you have existed. The ocean sounds, Adonai. The ocean sounds its thunder. The ocean sounds its pounding above the mighty waters. More majestic than the breaking of the sea is Adonai, majestic on high. Your decrees are enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, for all days. We rise for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu, on page 34. Praise the eternal God, to whom all praise is due. Let us praise the eternal God, to whom all praise is due,
now and forever. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We continue with our prayer for creation at the top of page 35. Together, we bless you, Eternal One, Creator of the universe, by whose laws the shadows of evening fall, and the light of each new day is opened. In wisdom you have established the change of times and seasons, and ordered the ways of the stars in their heavenly courses. You are the Creator of heaven and earth, the source of all life. Blessed is the Eternal One, for the day and its work, and for the night and its rest. We continue with the watchword of our people, the Shema, on page 37.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated as we continue together on page 39 with the English of Ve'ahavta. You shall love the eternal God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be upon your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol before your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, that you may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy to your God. I, the Eternal, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I, the Eternal, am your God. We continue over the page responsively. Our Torah teaches us the road to redemption.
You shall not oppress or rob your neighbor.
Neither shall you stand idly by the blood of your neighbor.
You shall not hate your brother or sister in your heart.
But you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
And if there are strangers sojourning you in your land, you shall not do them any wrong.
The stranger who sojourns with you shall be as the homeborn, and you shall love the stranger as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
As we sing the song that celebrates our deliverance from Egypt, we praise the one who calls upon us to break the chains of hatred and bring liberation for all humanity. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nor tehilot osef
continue together at the bottom of the page. It is written, the Eternal One delivered Jacob and redeemed him from the hand of one far stronger. Blessed is the Eternal One, Redeemer of Israel. We continue with our prayer for shelter, protection in the evening, the Hashkivenu, on page 43.
ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, כי אל שומרנו ומצילנו אתה, כי
with the Shamru, page 44.
These are two settings. This is a setting by Louis Lewandowski, one of the stalwarts of classical reform. Maybe we want to read before it. Do you want to read a little bit of English
I'd be
before?
glad to.
Let's read
I'd
a
be
little
glad
English
to.
before it, just to bring us into these two really big pieces,
Okay,
right?
so we'll read responsively at the top of the page. As Shabbat descends, it enfolds us in its mantle of peace. It brings to us the precious gift of time, time to embrace family and friends, to reflect more deeply on the meaning and purpose of our lives, and to worship in the beauty of holiness. May Shabbat be for us a sanctuary of love and devotion, bringing contentment to our hearts, happiness to our homes, and blessings to our people.
Those who celebrate Shabbat and call it a delight, rejoice in your creation. All who hallow the seventh day shall be gladdened by your goodness. The day is Israel's festival of the Spirit, sanctified and blessed by you. The most precious of days, a symbol of joy in creation.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת
We rise for the prayer, the Amidah, on page 45.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
We bless you, God of our ancestors, God of Abraham, God of Sarah, God of Isaac, God of Rebekah, God of Jacob, God of Rachel, and God of Leah. You remember the devotion of those who came before us. As you guided our ancestors with love, you offer hope to us, their descendants. You are our creator and helper, our guide and protector. Blessed is the Eternal One, shield of Abraham and help of Sarah. We continue responsibly. Excuse me.
That's okay, go ahead.
Your might, Eternal One, is everlasting. Help us to use our strength for good and not for evil. You are the source of life and blessing. Help us to choose life for ourselves and our children. You are the support of the falling. Help us to lift up the fallen. You are the author of freedom. Help us to set free the captive. You are our hope in death as in life. Help us to keep faith with those who sleep in the dust. Your might, Eternal One, is everlasting. Help us to use your strength for good. Atah gibor leolam Adonai. Chalkel chakol atah v'hoshia.
מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך? מלך מהימית ומחייב, ומצמיח
Blessed is the Eternal, who gives life to all. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy proclaim your holiness every day. Blessed is the Eternal One, God of holiness. You may be seated as we continue at the top of page 48, responsively. Our God and God of all ages, grant that our worship on this Shabbat day be acceptable to you. Sanctify us through your commandments, that we may share in the blessings of the Torah. Teach us to be satisfied with the gifts of your goodness and grateful to rejoice in all that you bestow.
Purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. Inspire us to preserve the Shabbat as our sacred heritage from generation to generation, that it may bring rest and joy, peace and comfort to our lives.
Blessed is the Eternal One, who sanctifies Shabbat. Look with favor upon us, and may our service be acceptable to you. Blessed is the Eternal One, whom alone we serve in reverence. We continue together, page 50. We gratefully acknowledge that the Eternal One is our Creator and Preserver, the rock of our life and the shield of our help. We thank God and sing praises for the gift of life itself, for our souls which are ever in God's keeping, for the signs of our Creator's presence that we encounter every day, and for God's wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. Truly our blessings are without end, and God's loving kindness never ceases. Therefore do we forever put our trust in the Eternal One. Blessed is the Eternal One, whose name is goodness, who is worthy of thanksgiving. On page 52, our prayer for peace, Birkat Shalom. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, eternal source of peace, and enable our people Israel to be its messenger to all the world. Bless our country, that it may ever be a pursuer of peace and its advocate among the Council of Nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and harmony among the inhabitants of all lands. Plant virtue in every soul, and may our love for you hallow every home and every heart. Blessed is the Eternal One, giver of peace. Amen.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha
meditation and reflection. Of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts indeed be acceptable. Wish you both strength. That was beautiful, and certainly I feel a little bit more strength, and I hope we can carry that strength forward for our world as we take a moment now to consider all those individuals in our lives, in our circles, our friends, our family who are in need of healing, who are not whole. We as a congregation every week we gather names from our community to share in healing, and once I've shared those names, I welcome any of you that would like to add names from your own life that perhaps were not shared. We'll include them in our prayers as we create one great prayer for healing. Tonight on our list for Misha Berach. For healing, we include Arlene Braun, Lana Briner, Heidi Preskar, Sue Chazen, Donna Zuba, Kimberly Del Dago, David Froman, Selena Gar, Donald Hammer, Mara Hassan, Eric Robert Coonan, Gail Lewis, Charles Mueller, Kim Murphy, Joanne Rabb, Robert S. Reisman, Charlene Ross, Brandon Ryan, Ronna Schultz, Tammy Van Way, Donna Yablin, Mark Yablin, Chaya Fora Bat Miriam, Lavi Ben Louise Kimchi, Malka Bat Hana Chaya, Pinchas Ben Malka, Rashkel Shendel Bat Miriam, Reuven Ben Shirley Vigavriel, and Sarah Esther Bat Malka. Now, if you'd like to add names either here in our sanctuary or from the comfort of your own home.
Michael Saul, Charles Saul, and Debbie Saul. Seth Whitman, Lynn Schmitz, Lily Matthews, Catholic, Sean Zalman, Ben Leah, Elaine Sewers, Chrissy Saul, Harold
For all those mentioned and the many more who go unmentioned, we continue with our prayer for healing found on page 33 in our prayer books.
Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Mishaperach Imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May the pain and loneliness we're feeling be diminished by the power of your love. Mishaperach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Mishaperach Imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
I feel transported. Every time I come into this sanctuary, I feel transported by the majesty of this place, and especially on nights when we get to hear the organ, and with the beauty that's brought by the cantor and these melodies of old come to life, there seems to be a lot combining old and new as the old becomes new and the new becomes holy in all kinds of different ways. I'm thinking much tonight that on Wednesday afternoon we learned a beloved past president of our congregation, Ralph Halpern, passed away, and Ralph had been coming to services at templebethzion since just around the time he got out of the army. He came here apparently because it was quite the scene back then, and there were certain expectations by Rabbi Fink that the young people, they could go and have their fun afterwards, but you had to come to services first. Thinking maybe I ought to bring that back. What do you think?
Yes. Yes.
Well, Ralph also told me other things. It's actually my first classical service, and no one's commented on how wonderful my tie is. It's my first time not wearing a tie, because at a classical service, and this was something Ralph told me. He told me that that in Synagogue 2000, when they studied around the turn of the millennium, what the current place and potential future of our movement, Reform Judaism, which he was very committed to, which he thought really made Judaism relevant to us in our lives, was that rabbis, to be more relatable, they should wear sports jackets and not suits and no ties. Lose the tie, he told me, Rabbi. And so I want you to know, typically at a classical Shabbat, in order to keep the ambiance, I would be wearing a tie. It's to honor Ralph tonight, and so if I seem a little bit less confident in the role, you'll forgive me. Another thing that Ralph really reminded us, and living 95 full good years, I don't know actually if any of his family is watching tonight, but certainly if his kids or if Harriet's watching tonight, we send our love to them, that really he lives in us as quite an inspiration, a force in how much he contributed. And Ralph always complained about the amount of Hebrew that's in the service. I tried to tell him, that's the problem with Hebrew prayer. There's too much Hebrew in it, but he wasn't satisfied with that, with the way the service went. And in any case, Hebrew is a gateway of sorts. It's our connection to the past. It's our connection to discover who we are, and it's our connection to the future as well. And there's an expression, an understanding that Hebrew words in particular, they're like keys to opening doors in the world that we wouldn't be able to access otherwise. This is the whole idea of where a Baal Shem comes from, that certain individuals who were able to capture such kavanah, such intention, could speak these names with such power and force that they could literally rearrange the flow of the heaven and thus become a Baal Shem, someone who has mastery over names. We have a lot of names for God in our tradition. We talk about God as Adon HaShalom, as the patron of peace. That's one of them, for example. Amazing that our ancestors used this name for God. Shalom, peace. But peace isn't simple. It's not simple to feel whole when we're missing our loved ones. It's not simple to feel whole when we read the news with concern about the state of our world and our futures and the futures of our children, our other loved ones, our family, and our community. It's not easy to feel whole when someone we know is suffering from a challenge of health, that they can't go and pursue that thing that would give them joy or comfort or a sense of tranquility or ease. In fact, the great Rabbi Kook, the first chief rabbi of Israel, actually before it was Israel under the British Mandate, in his commentary Orat Re'ach on the Siddur, on the prayer book, he says something profound. He says that for every morning in our traditional liturgy, we read the expression that wise students, Talmidei Hachamim, that when wise students, when our children go and study, they marbim shalom, they make peace greater in the world through study, and learning is a core principle of what our Jewish lives mean. But in this moment, in our prayer, the rabbis, they're playing with the words. And they tell us that we shouldn't read this word. You have to love the Hebrew to really get into this. You shouldn't read the word as banaich, as our children, that they should become students, but rather bonaich, that our children should not be the students, but students are the builders of peace. And Rabbi Cook asks, he says, what kind of shalom have Talmudic scholars ever brought into the world? It's a very funny question. If you've ever been in a yeshiva, if you've ever done a traditional type of Jewish study, what people at yeshiva do with the text is they take it and they break it into all these little pieces, and they argue over it, and then they try to take it like Humpty Dumpty and they try to reconstruct it back again. And so the question really is, what kind of peace can really come from deconstruction? Rav Kook answers his question. He says, we think of shalom as the absence of conflict, but it's not. Shalom is a container for a multitude of differences. So, what do? Do we think shalom can hold all of our differences? And in fact, Rabbi Cook says, shalom is the only thing that can. Shalom is a higher order. This is perhaps what Einstein would say, that problems don't get resolved on the level at which they arrive. You can't do a nuclear reaction equation until you figure out that matter can be converted into energy and vice versa, that each are made up of particles in the same way that those particles are made up of vibrating strings. And shalom is that precipice from which we can hold many pieces that otherwise cannot be held. It's so interesting that this character in this week's Torah portion, Jacob, this character, we're told, Yavo Yaakov Shalem Chem, that he comes to be complete at the end of this reading, and this is after we're told he wrestles with what the text says is an ish, is some person, some man, but in fact becomes to be a manifestation of an angel, perhaps a guardian angel for his brother Esau. And the Torah tells us that when he emerges, he is whole. When he emerges from wrestling all this night, when the sun starts to come up, and the Ish says, "You must release me." And Jacob says, "I won't release you until you bless me." And he changes his name. He changes his name to Yisrael, because he's one that Yisrael wrestled with God and man and prevailed. V'tuchal. But those of us that know this text, we know that Jacob did not emerge whole. The problem is that when the long night of wrestling ends, Jacob's limping. Jacob's wrestled with an angel, and he's limping, and he's arrived, as the text says, Shalom Shalem, that he's complete. What kind of brokenness could make Jacob whole? What kind of peace does he need? Not P-E-A-C-E, but P-E-I-C-E. What peace is he missing? Does he need to be able to complete himself so that he can bring peace to the world? The great therapist Carl Jung said something that I don't want to forget. He said that all neurosis was cause for legitimate suffering. That all neurosis, all character structure that presents itself as a problem, it isn't the problem, obviously, that it is an excuse for something that is needing to be legitimated. And so Jacob, we've seen him these past weeks. He's been carrying a load. He's been running away. That's Jacob's mode. Jacob gets scared and he runs. I take off my tie and I get scared. Jacob gets scared and he deceives. Jacob gets concerned. He splits his camp. He sends them bit by bit into the land, fearful that his brother will hurt him. Jacob's so dominated by fear. And if you look at the Torah, the Jacob narrative, Vayera Yaakov, he is afraid. He's a terrified guy, always terrified. What is he afraid of? What is he afraid of? For he's wrestling with this man, and then the man blesses him, he releases the man, and suddenly he's alone. Rabbi Shmuel Klassner says that the word vayivater in this text, that at that moment when he was left alone, when he wrestled, is actually an oral homonym. We can sing the vowels just by reading the vet with a dot on it in the Torah to make the verse read not that Jacob was alone, but that vayivater, he was split. See, if we don't know the Hebrew, we can't play with the words. There's no one else around him, right? He's alone. What's going on in this scene? Has anyone seen Fight Club? Brad Pitt? He's fighting himself the whole time. I'm sorry about the spoiler. You had lots of time to watch the movie. And he saw that if it was him, if he was split, if Shmuel Klassner was right, he couldn't overcome himself. He saw that he couldn't overcome the healthy part of him that wanted to be done with this charade, to be done with the dreams, to be done with the masks. And as he emerged from the night, he was dislocated at the hip. He emerged limping. Jacob had to slow down. He couldn't move fast enough anymore to run away. He had to limp away. And you can't escape when you're limping. His disability enabled him, though, in a way to finally come to terms with who he is. His limping self must finally slow down. His limping self must get it. And it's in that great moment that he screams to himself, if we imagine it in such a way, "What's my name?" and gives himself the name Yisrael, the one who wrestles. Jacob will be whole. He will only have the ability to be complete, shalem, when he's honest about his wound, when he's honest about the burden that he's carrying, when he's able to look at himself, the dislocated area, the sciatic nerve is what the rabbis debate and decide it is. Gita nashach is the word in Hebrew. And also, as Shmuel Klassner mentioned a moment ago, talks about that this gid, this tendon in Hebrew, hanashach. What's nashach in Hebrew, Cantor? It's to forget. It's the gid of forgetting. And what is Jacob forgetting in this moment? He's forgetting that he's running. He forgot that years and years ago there was a little Jacob that wanted to get a blessing. That here he is, formed in that character, that he's finally had enough, and this brings him to the point of saying, I'm done running. I'll limp, and in my limping, in my legitimate suffering, I'll find a way to be whole. Holding all of those pieces, all of those complexities, all of those different parts of that Jacobness together in this container called shalom, peace. This is really hard spiritual work, to feel whole when there's so many different things pulling us apart. There's so much self-deception that's involved, so much compartmentalizing, so much reframing, and we can fool ourselves so frequently. The war with our own desire to run, we have to surrender at a point to ask ourselves, what are we running from? What are we running for? Why don't we slow down? You know, I had a fascinating talk with a Pulitzer Prize writer, the journalist Jonathan Kaufman, some years ago, on his book, The Last Kings of Shanghai. And my grandfather spent 20 months in Shanghai as he came to the United States for refuge from Germany, where he was born. And so I've had a bit of a fascination with Chinese thought, Chinese philosophy, Chinese faith as well. And there's a Chinese teaching that comes from the scholar Tao Te Ching. He says, "The slow overcomes the fast." The slow overcomes the fast. And so by slowing down in a way like Jacob in this moment slows down, we give ourselves some time to feel, to allow ourselves to feel the wound of that thing that's missing in our lives, and to give ourselves a new name, to not let that thing define us, to know that we aren't X, Y, or Z, or no, you must have been mistaken. You know, every situation has a name, and this is the way I react, but oh no, I have a new name now. Every time it takes me about 3 minutes to get angry, I'm going to remember I have a new name. And I'm not going to give that up. I have a new name. I'm going to make it Yisrael, the one who struggles and prevails because I slowed down. Because I'm not going to allow myself to be in that place where I feel like I'm being pulled in two, because I'm going to accept that I'm here at Temple Bethzion in 2024 and have the opportunity to lead a beautiful service and a beautiful sanctuary with a beautiful congregation. And like Yaakov, I'm going to be redefined in this moment to ensure that this place can be a place where I can help bring people together, where all of us can help to build connections and communities in a container that can hold all of that diversity and all of that multiplicity. And so I need a new name, because I can only bike so fast, and if I injure myself, well, I've got to slow down there too. Can you give yourself a new name as Jacob gets a new name this week? That's the importance of Jacob leaving Yaakov alone in the night and becoming Yisrael, Israel. Can we each give ourselves a new name too? May this be God's will. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Thank you. God bless you. It's my privilege to be able to welcome, I don't have it written on that sheet, but I saw it earlier, Kathy Ellis, our friend, to help us with opening our ark as we turn to page 502 in our prayer books and rise for Aleinu. continue together on page 503. May the time not be distant, eternal one, when all humanity shall be united, when suffering and strife shall be no more. Fervently we pray that the day may come when all shall work for the repair of our world. Corruption and evil shall give way to purity and goodness. Superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the all. Then all who dwell on earth may know refuge and protection, enlightenment and liberty. May all created in your image and harmony recognize that we are bound as family, so that, one in spirit and one in harmony, we may be forever united before you. Then shall we bring divinity to earth, and the word of your ancient prophet be fulfilled. On that day the eternal shall be one, and God's name shall be one. You may be seated. A meditation as we prepare to devote our final moment of prayer in our service, of formal prayer, to the beloved memory of our loved ones and those who we continue to hold dear, although departed. Page 504. So we must make peace with the thought of death, which, like the sunset at the end of a perfect day, must come sooner or later to all. Our religion can help us, as it did our parents, to look upon death as the comrade of life. It can also keep before our minds the hope of personal immorality and the ideal of immorality through works of influence. The immortality. Let me try that again. Look, the sun will come up tomorrow. Be okay. Tomorrow. I'm so sorry, everyone. That is not what I meant to read. Let me continue again. So we must make peace with the thought of death, which, like the sunset at the end of a perfect day, must come sooner or later to all. Our religion can help us, as it did our parents, to look upon death as a comrade of life. It can also keep before our minds the hope of personal immortality and the ideal of immortality through works and influence, the immortality that comes from linking ourselves with the relative experiences of the human race. The bonds which we have forged between ourselves and our dear ones are not broken as long as we will to recall. Love itself never dies, and as long as one human being treasures another, so long will life triumph over death and affection over the power of the grave. Friends, we draw near into our hearts all of those friends, family, and former members of our congregation who sadly are no longer with us in life. Although Shiva does not formally begin until burial, we know that we're thinking of our dear friend Ralph L. Halpern, and that his family be brought comfort in his loss that occurred earlier this week. We continue to think as well of those members of our congregation, friends and family of members of our congregation. We think of Herbert, Weiss, and Maxine and Steve. We wish you comfort as you continue through this month of Shloshim following his passing, as well as our friend Jim Halpern and Susan Cohen. This week also marks the anniversary of the following individuals' passings: Leo Biltikoff, Blanche K. Brett, Max Berg, Lena Chapin, Gary N. Cohen, Louis Cohn, Carl M. Cole, Samuel R. Cristal, Clara Davis, Emily Edelstein, Adelbert K. Eady, Josephine Fleck, Regina Fleischman, Clarence G. Fleischman, Margaret R. Freudenheimer, Ernst S. Freudenheimer, Charles Garfinkel, Edith Garfinkel, David Glickstein, Lucille Goldman, George Goldstein, Arlene Carell Goldstein, Dr. Abraham Greenkey, Mary K. Halpern, Emma G. Harrison, Sigbert Hollander, Helene Hirsch Eisenberg, Saul Eisenberg, Dr. Milton K. Kahn, Joanna Kahn, Erwin E. Kriegler, Isidore Latz, Carol Rita Leibowitz, Dr. Samuel Lightman, Thomas Markle, Seymour F. Morris, Mary Peckoff, Sheldon Reingold, Daniel Arthur Roblin Jr., Herman Rothschild, Jerome R. Schweitzer, Isidore Settel, Esther Sherlick, Harry Sherlick, Myrtle Miller Silman, Fanny Robinson Silman, Rose Starren, Libby Sternberg, Saul Stone, Carolyn Weil, Reuben H. Weinberg, Bernard D. Welts, Edward E. White, Celia M. Weiner, Herman Witkin, Robert Yablin, and Amy M. Zeckhauser. There are names that I've not mentioned and that you are thinking of for Kaddish. I welcome you to add them at this time. For all those mentioned and the many more that go unmentioned, we rise as one community as we express our support and solidarity for all those in mourning and for all those observing Yahrzeit. And we turn to page 508 to recite the words of Kaddish according to our personal customs. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah be'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Ulomei Amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yit'aleh V'yithalal Shmei Dekudisha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Da'amiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May God bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved as we say, Amen. You may be seated as it's my privilege to welcome our officer, Sam White, to share with us tonight's announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We've entered a time of year where we're seeing so many friends and family. We're building community, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your Shabbat with us tonight. It's so meaningful, and it's so wonderful to see so many of you for this classical service. I do want to recognize that tonight's Oneg is sponsored by Tom Freudenheim in honor of the yahrzeits of his parents, Margot and Ernest Freudenheim. May their memory remain a blessing. Before we get to our concluding songs, I'll be quick. There's a few announcements. Some of you had the opportunity to shop this evening at the Sisterhood gift shop. If you missed it, the Hanukkah Bazaar will be available for adults at the Community Religious School on Sunday the 15th. Adults can stop from 8:30 to 9, and after school from 11:30 to noon, and kids will be able to shop during the day, so send them with a little cash. I want to mention and highlight a wonderful program that really encourages you to tap into your spirituality and explore music and mysticism. It'll be Wednesday, December 18th over at Broder. There's no registration, no fee, just come and experience. And that'll be with Cantor and Rabbi. Actually, next Thursday is another stained glass concert series. We're going to have the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra Brass Quintet right here. Admission is totally free, and it's an amazing experience, so I highly recommend that you come. You can even bring kids. I also want to mention that next Friday is another one of our Young Family Shabbats. There's going to be an amazing community meal. We encourage you to RSVP for that. It'll be followed by the adult Shabbat evening services. And I want to mention that we're going to have a special oneg recognizing the retirement of our trustee, Kathy Ellis. So we do encourage you to come and participate, and it'll be a wonderful meal, so don't miss it. Registration is required for that. We also want to encourage you to come back, bring more family with you to our Hanukkah celebration, Lights and Latkes. That will be at Broder on Friday the 27th. There's going to be a totally free meal that is generously sponsored by our rabbi and our sisterhood. And you know, we encourage you to come have some latkes, pizza, and so much more. That'll start at 5:30. We'll have services at 7:15. It's gonna be pretty awesome. We're gonna have the band, we're gonna have the choir, and we've been practicing. So if you're ready to be in the spirit for Hanukkah, we'll take you there. That's all I've got. I appreciate you guys. Shabbat Shalom.
We welcome our friends, the honors, Steve and Maxine, to lead us in the blessings over wine and over bread. We turn to page 110 in our prayer books as we rise.
Israel, born out of our longing to feel God's nearness. It has been to the Jewish people throughout our wanderings a visible token of the presence of God in our people's midst. Its beauty is the beauty of holiness. Steadfast, it has stood as the champion of justice, mercy, and peace. Altogether, its truths are true for all people. Its love is a love for all people. Its God is the God of all people, as it has been said. My house shall be a house of prayer for all people. Let all the family of Israel, all who hunger for righteousness, all who seek the eternal, find God here, and here find life.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
For our challah, our bread, as we sing the blessing Hamotzi.
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
As we take a second to break bread, we remain standing for our priestly blessing to conclude our service.
Yevara
God bless you and protect you.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונק לך.
May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך
May God take note of you and bestow on you the greatest of blessings, the blessing of wholeness, of completeness, of having all of your pieces in peace, of shalom. You may be seated. We conclude our service on page 513 with Adon Olam.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשיך לו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו אף כדרוכי בעת ישן בעירה ואם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
That's why I went.
still running from me. I can't overcome that.
Leave the monitors on, that's fine. Yep. That one, you just hold the red button off. You know, you can get that one over there too. Just to get a feel for it. Cantor's is off. Nice. Rabbis.
Cool. The beads are indeed cool.
You guys rule. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was perfect. It was perfect. Perfect, perfect. It was great. I don't know how you fixed that thing, but up there, but
Oh, it's just a dirty pot. Sometimes